Hey everybody, Steve here. Sitting here in Baltimore, beautiful day. There's one cloud in the sky. I can see it right over there. Flew in, just sitting reserve today. Pretty chilly. Snow on the ground. I think that's what that white stuff's called. We don't see too much of that in South Carolina. So, um, scary moment for Benjamin. I talked to Benjamin last night and asked him if he'd mind if I shared the story. But Mom did some videos on getting scammed, and I did a video a few years ago on like some fake, friend requests and things like that. So things to watch out for because these people have rat-like cunning. That's what a friend of mine used to say. So Benjamin was walking over from his apartment. He's got a Taco Bell conveniently close to his apartment. So he walked over there, was going to get him some Taco Bell. A couple of guys pulled up in a car and hopped out and said, "Hey," and asked him if he knew where there was the closest Bank of America. He's like, I don't know. I don't bank with Bank of America. I couldn't help you out. Sorry." So he goes on inside. A few minutes later, one of the guys comes walking in and starts giving him the pitch, basically. "Hey, I've got a check here. I need the cash. I need the money. I can't find a bank or whatever. Can you help me out here?" Benjamin is a kind soul. Very proud of that, and our children, and that's what these people look for, unfortunately. So Benjamin's like, "Okay, I could take that, put it in Zelle, and then turn around and send it to you," or whatever. He was going to Zelle it or whatever. I don't even know. I know what Venmo is. Zelle, I haven't ever used really. So he started, going down the path here with this, and it just wasn't taking. It wasn't showing. It was having problems with it. That's a first clue. Second clue, so he steps outside with them, and just right outside the Taco Bells, talking with them, and the second clue kicked in, or they started pressuring him a little bit, like, "Hey, can you just try this? Can you?" And Benjamin's like, "I don't know what's going on. Let me call my bank and see what's going on." So he's trying to get through. It's not working. And the guy reaches over and hangs up his phone. Reaches over and hangs up Benjamin's phone. Well, he's like, "Hey, don't be touching me here. Don't be." So finally, the guy's like, "No, no, no. You just, I'll tell you what. Just, you got the check. You got our money." And now here the high pressure starts. Now, where hey, you got our money. You're trying to take our money. And hold on. Hey, sorry, that was cleaning ladies coming. So they're like, "Okay, look, you're trying to take our money, whatever. Just pay us with Apple Pay. Just do that." So here's the third clue. Benjamin at this point, his spidey sense kicked in, and he's like, "Okay, I know," and he was a cyber major. He's savvy enough about this, and to now he realizes that's a lot of what people scam and do is work through Apple Pay or gift cards, to try to get money out of people, and he's like, "Okay, no, that's it." So the guys like had his phone. They get in their car, and there's messing with his phone, and at this point Benjamin's had it, and the smart thing to do would be, to go inside and just go, "Hey, I'm calling the police," and but Benjamin's like, "My phone was open, my bank app was open, and they had my phone, my family's information, some of that's in there as well," and he just went Spider-Man mode. I shouldn't laugh. But, Benjamin always, when he was a little boy, man, he wanted to be Spider-Man. Well, he got his chance that time. So he dives into the car to get his phone. And the guys are kicking and pushing. And Benjamin was telling me about this last night. He goes, "Daddy, I mean, I had this, like, awareness of where everybody's hands were what was going on. And I just didn't. It was like fight or flight. I just dived in there and went after it. And he got his phone. The guy was like kicking at him and threw a drink at him and whatever. And he got out of the car, got his phone, and then got out, and the guys took off. And Benjamin went inside and eventually called the police and got involved. Well, it turns out, one thing I forgot to mention. At one point, these guys were like, "Hey, I need this money for my dad. Hold on, let me." And he calls somebody, his dad, and says, his dad's like, "I need this. I'm going on a honeymoon tomorrow. I need this money today." And so it's like a racket. It was like coordinated, and this is like some professional thieves here or something. Um, so all the clues were there, and of course afterwards, Benjamin talked to the police. The police were like, "Yeah, we've heard of this." The check was for $10,000, bogus check. That's one of the reasons it didn't go through. And the police were like, when he called and said, "Okay, the check was for $10,000, wasn't it?" He goes, "Well, yeah, that's." He goes, "Yeah, there's been a lot of this." And he said, "Admirably," he said, "You're the first one that's not been taken by them. That you had enough wherewithal at the point to stop it. There's a lot of people have been taken in by it. So good on you, Benjamin." I told him about of course, Arlene's just and I both were just when we heard he died in the car. It was son, nothing's worth that. I just couldn't stand if something had happened to him. So thank God. Um, but a lot of clues there, and I just kind of wanted to share this because I've done those previous videos before. We talked about that, about scammers like that, and they're rat-like cunning. I mean, I had something happen to me. I was trying to sell a dresser, and on Craigslist, which is like replete with scammers. So you always got to be careful. You always got to be watching. But this guy just sends me back an email, says, "Hey, I'm in the military. I'm getting ready to go out in the field, so I'm in and out. But what I'm gonna do, I want to buy it. I'm gonna send you a check." And I'm like, "Sure, go ahead." So check shows up, a little funny looking, but it was all typed out and everything, and it was from through FedEx, and I get it, and I was selling the dresser for like $300, and it was like for 3,300. And I was like, "Hey, I'm curious why you sent me this check for this amount." And he's like, "Oh, you know what? Just when you cash it, I'm gonna have a guy come by to pick up the dresser. Just give him the change. Add another 100 in there. But just give him the change." And I was like, okay. And quick Google search, and right away this is a scam. And a lot of banks, a lot of times you go in there, you get checks like that. Ask them, because the banks will like, this is a scam. This is the deal, because the check, what'll happen is we'll take it and we'll give you the money, and 2 days later when it comes back and it's a bounced check, you're responsible for it, not the scammers. I mean, you can find them, I suppose, but they're long gone. So watch for the clues. Watch for them. I mean, high pressure, when people start getting high pressure, just, hey, back off. You know what? Go inside the store. There's a couple of lessons talking with Benjamin. I mean, take it inside the store. When they start pressuring you and pushing, he even said this. He's like, "Look, if you guys think that I'm trying to steal your money, maybe we ought to call the police and let them come, and they can be here and we can work this out." And that's when they grabbed his phone, the high pressure starts, your radar should go up. Cash and checks for people you don't know. Hey, I really need money for whatever. Looking back, Benjamin's like, I should have just said, "Hey," because it started off with, "Hey, I'm hungry. Can you help me out? I ain't got no money." He should have just said, "Well, if you're hungry, I'll buy you something," and there you go. But when you start getting into banks and cashing things for people, and just give me the difference, things like that, the radar should go up. pay attention. Another story, I had a friend of mine in pilot training years ago, and he was from New York, a little more street savvy than South Carolina boy is. But he was downtown with a couple of friends of mine, and they were walking downtown. This guy comes walking up and says, "Hey, you guys got the time?" This is at night, and one of the guys like, "Ah, sure." And this friend of mine, Andy was his name. He just starts just railing into the guy and telling him to get out of here, and he's gonna just punch him if he doesn't run. Get out of here or whatever. And the guy's like, "Oh, okay, all right," and he runs off. And the other guys were like, "Hey, man, the guy was just wanting to know what the time was," and Andy was like, "He had a watch on. Why would he ask for the time if he had a watch on? He was gonna rob us." So, just rat-like cunning. Just there's people like this that they're very very good at it, and just recognize the signs. And if you have a funny feeling, if it doesn't feel right, or if they start pressuring you, whatever, just back off, and or just go. You know what? I'm going to call the police right now, and just get out of the situation. So. Thank God, Benjamin, he's all right. A little rattled. He said he was starting a kickboxing class. Good for you, boy. And so that's good. That's good. So anyway, I hope this was helpful. Let me know. If something like this happened to you, let me know below. Leave a comments below for all of us so we can all learn. And we'll see you next time. Take care.